Thanks for tuning in to the Drive On podcast, where we're focused on giving hope and strength to the entire military community. Whether you're a veteran, active duty, guard, reserve, or a family member, this podcast will share inspirational stories and resources that are useful to you. I'm your host, Scott DeLuzio, and now let's get on with the show. Hey everybody, welcome back to Drive On. I'm your host, Scott DeLuzio, and today my guests are Sarah, Otto, and Candace Guelzo. They're from Ohana Homefront Foundation, and they are here to discuss the foundation, how they help the military community with mental health awareness and suicide prevention programs. We'll get into that in just a minute, but first, I want to welcome you both to the show, ladies. I'm really glad to have you here.
Thanks for having us.
We're excited.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So for the listeners maybe who aren't familiar with you, I'd like to maybe just do quick introductions for the two of you. Maybe Sarah, if we could start with you, just tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your background, how you got involved with the foundation, and then we'll jump over to Candace.
Awesome. Thanks, Scott, for having us. So as Scott said, I'm Sarah Otto. I am actually the co-founder and CEO, and apparently I've been given the title of also CKO, Chief Kindness Counselor or Officer. That was a whole discussion a couple weeks ago. And my husband is retired Navy. He retired in 2018 after 21 and a half years of service. We have 3 adult kids and 1 grandbaby, 2 dogs and 2 goats. And so it's kind of a wild thing out here. And I, throughout the 21 and a half years that my husband was active duty, you see a lot of things, you hear a lot of things. And as the years progressed, mental health became a big thing, a huge stumbling block within our military community. And so in 2021, I woke up and had an idea, and here we are a little over 2 years later. And that's where I am with OHS. Is that's kind of I woke up one morning and said, I have an idea. So, and that's why Candace is here with me today, because I had an idea.
And ideas are usually, they go further when they're done together with a team of people, other folks who share there's a shared vision, and you come together with your strengths and other people's strengths, and you come together, and that's how you make the best of it. Candace, would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, of course. So as you said, my name is Candace Guelzo, and I am the Chief Operating Officer on the mental health side of the Ohana Homefront Foundation. My husband is currently active Army and is teaching at the Military Academy at West Point, which has been a really cool thing to experience. If you ever have a chance, anybody ever has a chance to come up and just view West Point, it's amazing. We have 3 young children, one of which who will probably burst in at some point during this podcast, and I homeschool. And I'm currently getting my PhD in industrial organizational psychology, and we're putting all this effort into this wonderful organization that Sarah has built. And she's built a fantastic team, and I wouldn't be here if it weren't for Sarah. So thank you, Sarah.
Welcome.
And you somehow found time to join us on this podcast with everything else that you have going on, right?
Tonight. It might be rough, but we're here.
It's funny you mentioned coming to visit West Point, and it is a great area. I was in the Connecticut Army National Guard, and so we did some training at West Point every once in a while. Not too often, but we've gone there for some training. And one training weekend it was over the winter. I forget exactly which month it was in, but there was snow on the ground, and we were sleeping outside overnight. We just had our sleeping bags. There's no tents or anything like that formal setup. We just found a spot on the ground and we laid down. Well, the sleeping bag that I had set up was on a little bit of a slope on the hill, and I laid down. I went to sleep. Other people were pulling security and doing all the things that we were supposed to do. When I woke up, I was in the middle of a thorn bush, and there was like these pricker bush branches all around me, and I couldn't get out without scraping myself up, my face, my arms, everything was all scraped up. It was and then I'm slipping back in because the as I slid down the hill, I ended up, kind of like iced over a little bit as I was going in. And
Of course
like,
you did.
I couldn't, I was like punching into the snow to like get myself out. It was just such a pain in the butt. But that's my memory from West Point. So if you go, I guess maybe avoid the winter months. Maybe that's
And
my
no
my
sleeping bag
moral of the
on a
story.
float.
Yes, exactly. That was my bad. I mean, I should have known better than to put it there, but live and learn, right? So,
And a good story out of it.
um, yeah, and it is, and a little bit of, you guys can all laugh at my expense. It's fine. I get it. It was years ago, and I can laugh at it now too. At the time, I was saying some stuff that I wouldn't necessarily want to say around my kids, but that's fine. Um, anyways, so Sarah, could you take us back a little bit? You talked a little bit about how you had this idea and you just decided to jump in and do it. But can you tell us what motivated you to create the foundation and where you got started?
So the motivation was I hear, let's, rewind to 2021. You'd hear about organizations that would help veterans, that would help spouses. There was nothing out there that at least I could find that took care of the whole puzzle. So, and whenever you put together a puzzle and you're missing a piece, the puzzle falls apart because, it's
Yep.
just not there, right? So my brainchild was I want something that takes care of the whole community. I want the whole puzzle taken care of, top to bottom, side to side. And so, and everything virtual, everything no cost. So, and nothing reporting back to command because that's the number one thing. And I would say the number one reason that people just don't get help in the military is they don't want their command to find out. The spouses are afraid that their spouse's command is going to find out. There's all these different factors. And so we didn't want anything that would report back. So when I had the idea, I woke up and I called my best friend, Natalie Ely, and I said, I have an idea. And she said, okay, what do you want me to do? And I said, you're going to co-found it with me. And she said, okay, I'm in. But what's the idea? Like she had no clue but that's a good friend, right? They're like, all right,
That's
let's
trust.
jump in feet first and let's just do this. But I don't know what the idea is, but let's do it, That's the Ohana Homefront Foundation was born at my dining room table after pushing a piece of paper back and forth, like a car deal. I'm trying to figure out a name. So that's my main reason is I want everybody to be okay. And I don't want the puzzle to fall apart because our soldiers and sailors and airmen and Marines, anybody who's in the military, they can't do their job if they're worried about those back home. And those back home holding down the home front can't do that well if they're worried about their service member on the other side too. So we need everybody okay.
When things go sideways, will you be prepared? Some people are concerned they might have to go for a long time without electricity or even food. That's why I want to introduce you to 4patriots.com. Get preparedness products you can use now, and that could save your life later. My favorite is 4Patriots' new solar generator, the Patriot Power Generator 2000X. It uses the endless free power of the sun to power lights, your TV, medical equipment, even run your fridge. Plus, it's expandable and comes with a free solar panel. Or pick up one of 4Patriots' best-selling survival food kits. Delicious tasting and designed to last for 25 years. They even have kits with real meat, and if the power's out, no worries. Just boil water over a fire, simmer, and serve. You'll enjoy a hot meal and stay safe in a crisis. More smart people than ever are finding 4Patriots. Over 2 million customers trust them, and you might have even seen them on TV. I had the folks at 4Patriots set up a special page for you at 4patriots.com/drive-on so that listeners of this podcast can see this week's discounts and deals before they go away. Go to 4patriots.com/drive-on, but hurry, these deals won't last long. Save more and get peace of mind now by going to 4patriots.com/drive-on. It's such a powerful mission to take care of the whole picture and look at not just the individual service member who is, maybe deployed overseas or they're at home, in garrison doing their, whatever training, whatever it is that they're doing. But you're right. When there's stuff going on at home, I said this before we even started recording. People, the family first kind of mentality. My mind is going to be at home, and that's where accidents happen, right? And you don't want that. I don't think anyone in the chain of command wants that type of stuff to happen. So yeah, why not look at it holistically and take care of the family and that type of stuff as well. And that's just a great uh, way to look at it. Now, you mentioned the mental health and other things like you don't want to report those things to the chain of command. It's a big issue in the military. Still carries a stigma, unfortunately. Even with all the progress that we've made as far as mental health goes, it still carries some sort of stigma, um, and especially like I said in the military culture. Um, maybe Candace, maybe you might be able to answer this. How does the foundation work to break down these stigmas and encourage the conversations about mental health challenges that folks may have?
Yeah. Yeah. So as you said, even though there's been so much progress and everybody's working so hard to reduce this stigma, we know there's still a stigma. That's part of the military, part of the military culture, as much as we don't want it. People don't want to lose their security clearances. They're afraid of losing their jobs. You know, we've got some personal things with that. Nobody wants to, just here on my street, we've got some people who are afraid of their security clearances, et cetera. And we are in such a situation that you have to be really careful. So what Ohana does is we bring these people into our foundation. They come in and they receive care from quality licensed professionals who put all of these notes and all of these things regarding the time spent and whatnot into secure platforms that don't go back to anybody. And obviously, we have mandatory reporting. Somebody's going to do harm, we need to tell somebody. But we actively encourage people to come and just talk. We have wonderful peer mentors who will just sit and listen because the goal is to break down that stigma. The current generation, the new generation, thinks of mental health as health. And that's something that we have not been able to fully break down within the military yet. And we want everybody to just, if your mind's not right, if you're a little anxious or you're a little depressed or you're just something's completely wrong, you can't focus on everything else. And we're actively working on trainings to kind of, when there's something wrong, when the chemicals are off in your brain, it's not your fault. If you're depressed, it's not your fault. It's a chemical reaction in your brain. You can't control it. The whole, change your socks, drink some water, take some ibuprofen. It doesn't work for depression.
Right, and I mean, as much as I'd love for it to be that easy, where you could just, uh, take some ibuprofen, change your socks, drink some water, um, and make you feel better. It's not that easy, like you said. And as far as the people with these concerns over like their security clearance or other issues that maybe, um, you know, they're worried about their job or other things like that. I mean, think about it this way: if I was in their chain of command, if I have someone with a high level security clearance, I would want to make sure that their mental health was taken care of. Like, if there's
Yeah.
an issue, everyone has issues. I don't care who you are. There's people they're gonna have issues at one point or another in their lives. They're gonna have something um, that they're they're depressed about, or they're anxious about, or whatever the case may be. Maybe it's a loss of a loved one. Maybe their spouse died or their parents died, or I don't know, something like that, right? There's going to be grief, there's going to be sadness, there's going to be stuff that maybe you need to just talk to somebody to figure that stuff out, right? um why wouldn't you want that person to have the best care that they can get, so that, I don't want to say get over it, whatever they're going through, but so that they can go back to whatever their job is with a clear head, with all of those issues, um, kind of resolved, if you will, right? Um, that to me seems like the way I would want my soldiers or Marines, airmen, sailors, whoever, to to be performing, at the top of their game. You're not going to be at the top of your game if your head's someplace else. If you're depressed or you're anxious or you're, whatever the case may be, you're not going to be at the top of your game. So yeah,
Yeah.
let those people go get help, and don't risk losing their jobs because they don't they went to go talk to somebody. That to me just
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense.
Yep.
And I think the way that we look at it is, if somebody's getting help, these are the people who are more in control of themselves because they have an understanding of what's going on, biologically in their bodies. They have a better understanding of, okay, maybe you're having panic attack symptoms. And instead of shoving those down and pretending like they're not happening, you know what to do when you're faced with
Mhm.
them. And then you are able to face the rest of your day better. And it creates a safer and healthier environment for everybody.
That's right. Absolutely. Now, how have your experiences as military spouses influenced your passion for supporting military families and their mental health and overall wellness? I got to imagine that played some role uh, in the forming of the organization, but also in the day to day work that you do to keep you going, keep you motivated. Right?
Yeah. So my husband joined in 1997. So I'm sure that there's a lot of people listening that are like, I was born that year because we hear that a lot in our life. Um, it's weird. Like we're the Adam Sandlers now, like from, was it Happy Gilmore or whichever movie it was where
Yeah.
he was, and he had to go through school again. That's what I
Yep.
felt
Yep.
like as my husband's getting ready to retire. Anyway, so that's side note. But it's navigating our life to begin with is a different breed. It's a whole different ballgame. And those that aren't within the military community don't understand that, and they don't understand the stressors that we go through. They don't understand, trying to find um, a new PCM or a new psychologist or counselor or whatever every time that you move. They don't
Mhm.
understand that most of the time we're dragging children with us. My 3 kids, 2 of them, my older 2, they both went through like 8 hours of study at one point just so I could figure out what was going on with them when they were younger. And
Mhm.
you and then trying to find help once you move to a whole different state or across the country or across the pond, right? It's just
Right.
so hard to navigate, and that was another thing. I wanted to be that place where the navigation doesn't have to happen alone. Um, there is someone at the wheel that will help them and will say, "Hey, I've got you. You give me the
Mhm.
basics of what you need. We will figure this out together. Someone is here for you." That's where our peer to peer comes in a lot. It's like battle buddies. Um, and we do have 2 active duty sailors that are peer to peer mentors as well. So we do have active duty spouses, somebody that's been in the shoes or the boots or whatever it is. Wow, that's the biggest one. Um, so it's just ADHD. So I mean, just really having somebody that's been in those shoes helps a lot. And so that's where, you know, I would have loved as a young 20s, in my 20s to have somebody to say, "Hey, I got you. I can help you." That was not the case even then, and with little ones, that's just a whole other thing. And then I remember we moved from Missouri to Florida, and within 2 weeks, my husband deployed. Brand new
Mhm.
location. Kids were 3, 5, and 6. Like they were letting. I didn't know what to do. Like, what do you do? Um, and whole new location. So I had to figure that out on my own, and it was not easy. So I don't want anybody to ever have to feel like they have to do it alone. There is always somebody there willing to help with a resource, um, and to guide.
This is something that, just thinking back to my own service when I deployed to Afghanistan in 2010, it was about a month and a half or so after my first son was born, that I was deployed. And just thinking about my wife back home, a new mother, brand new to, the babies don't come with owner's manuals. They they don't have any, I don't know, you have to just kind of figure it out and you stumble into it. And it's a whole lot easier when you stumble into it as a team, when you have that support with both the father and the mother who are there together, working it together. And I just felt so bad for my wife, who had to just be tossed into the deep end by herself and had no support from me whatsoever. Couldn't even pick up the phone and call me because I was on the other side of the world in a place where I didn't really have a phone that she could pick up and call anyway. So um, that is something that I feel like she probably would have been able to benefit from the type of services that you offer, because sometimes, like we were saying before, sometimes you just need to talk to somebody and have that kind of support, and knowing that people are there to support you is important as well. So um that's definitely great that you have those things available, like you were saying. um Now, one of the goals of the foundation is to empower military spouses and and the families to engage in mental health care and support. How do you see this um, uh, playing a role in supporting the service members and their mental well being? Maybe Candace, if
I like
I know
Candace.
we have both. Yeah, I was gonna say, maybe we can kind of do a little ping pong or tennis match here and kind of bounce between the two of you.
I'm gonna let Sarah take that one because my little one is screaming right now, and that's gonna.
Yeah,
I'm
no
sorry.
problem.
The rest.
Go for
You're
it.
fine. You're fine. Um, so the empowerment comes from you are in control of what you are doing, what you need to do, what options there are, those kind of things. So that's where the empowerment comes from. Giving them the tools, letting them know they can do this. They're not alone, and that there are people here willing to say here. And it's not going to be like going to kindergarten on the first day or whenever you check into a command. Where I know that whenever my husband would check into a command, he would come home with a stack of things. Right? You're not going to read all
Sure.
of that. Let's just be honest. You're not.
Right.
Give some bullet points. So that's we do a lot of bullet points within OHS on what we offer, because you don't want to read a pamphlet on what we do. You want to see, okay, they have support groups, they have counseling, they have this, and all of these different things.
Sure.
Um, and to know that they're okay. It's fine. We've all been there, done that, bought the t-shirt. We've all had our moments where, we just want to sit in bed and eat that pint of ice cream. And it's fine to be like that, but the next day get up and conquer the world. And that we're here to help them
That's
do
right.
that.
Yeah, and I know, just going back to the stacks of papers that you get and all these pamphlets and brochures and all these things that you get when you uh, go to a new place, or even as you're transitioning out of the military, you get a lot of information. And I've said this before on the show, but it's like drinking from a fire hose. It's like you're not going to get it all. You're going to end up with stuff that is completely over your head, or you might see it and say, oh, that's nice that they have that, but I don't need that right now. So you kind of forget about it, and then a year or two later, when you actually do need it, you've forgotten all about it. And where did that pamphlet go? It's probably in the trash by now. So it's like it's too much information. Like you, you can only process so much at the same time, and it's a whole lot easier when you don't have uh, when you don't have it all coming at you at once. Like you said, bullet points, short, sweet. These are the things that we cover. That's how I would consume the information. That's how I'd prefer to consume it. I
Yeah.
should say, um, because if you gave me a book and said, "Here, read this. This is everything that we do," I'm not even gonna open the cover. So I'm not gonna know anything about what you do if you're giving me this big thick manual, or you know whatever you want to call it. uh, it's just going to be too much for me. Um, so I know, Candace, sorry you had to step away for a second here, but we were just
I
kind of talking
apologize.
about.
Yeah.
No, no worries, no worries. I know, especially having little ones at home and things like that, things are sometimes a little bit hectic. I'm the same way. We homeschool our kids, and it can be hectic every once in a while. I don't think I'd be able to do this show if it was not for having the support of my wife here to be able to help out with the home and everything like that, to help me out with managing the kids and all that kind of stuff. It really is a blessing to have here. But so we were talking about kind of the empowerment of military spouses and families, and
Yeah.
how that how they can engage in like mental health care and support, um, uh, and how that plays a role in the supporting the service members who are maybe
Yeah.
overseas, or they are, whatever it is that they are doing, being able to support the families, but in a in an indirect way that's also supporting the service members as well, right?
Yeah. So I think one of the really beautiful things about Ohana is, I mean, not only are we all volunteer, but we're all virtual, which I know Sarah has touched on. And we have these fantastic support groups that we are starting up again very shortly. And we have them for everybody. We have active duty, veteran, postpartum, parenting, I could go on, we have several of them.
Yeah.
And they're all, I mean, they're a safe space, as much as I am not the most fond of using that terminology, um, because it can imply so many different, it's not, I digress. Um, they are a space where, somebody, you can come in and, say you're a new mom and your spouse just deployed. There's going to be somebody else like you in that
Hmm.
space. We have facilitators running them who are knowledgeable to these experiences, who can be like, hey, I was there. And, here's a nice little bullet point list of things you can do this week to make yourself feel better. Or, did you remember to get a specific power of attorney so you can get your ID updated when it expires? Because that happened to me and I did not enjoy going through. So I think we're just kind of here to make sure everybody has that extra kind of virtual set of hands.
Hmm.
We can't come in and do something for you, but we can be there to answer your call.
Absolutely. Yeah. So for the listeners who are out there who are they're in need of some sort of support, they recognize that um, they're not getting the services or the support that they feel like they should be getting. Um, uh, Candace, maybe you could talk a little bit about how people can uh, get in touch, reach out to Ohana Homefront Foundation, and get the support that they need, um, for whatever the stuff is that they might be going through.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'd like to say we're very easy to get a hold of. I'm sure that our website's going to be linked somewhere, but it's
Yep.
ohanahomefront.org. And there is a big button right on the homepage that says request services. And it sends you to a little form. And then that form pings straight to myself and our care coordinator. And we really pride ourselves in getting back to you within 24 hours. We also have a Facebook where that's also Ohana Homefront Foundation. And I know Sarah has all these wonderful social media platforms set up. But messages on that I also see and Sarah also sees. So we can get back to you really quickly. And you can also find all our emails on the website. And I'd like to think we're very personable, and
Hmm.
easy to do, right, Sarah?
Yep.
It's so easy to have a conversation. Um, but we want to be that way because we want people
Yeah.
to come and ask for help. And, you can hop on our website and see all these awesome things that Sarah was just speaking about. And really, there's a form for everything. If you don't know what you want, or, maybe you're just not sure what kind of help you need, send us an email and
Okay.
we'll gladly reach back out to you. And I know, as Sarah was saying, we don't have a counselor in every state. That's part of the issue, right? So if we cannot provide you with a counselor, if you don't see one listed in your state, please reach out anyway, because we will find you that care.
When things go sideways, will you be prepared? Some people are concerned they might have to go for a long time without electricity or even food. That's why I want to introduce you to 4patriots.com. Get preparedness products you can use now, and that could save your life later. My favorite is 4Patriots' new solar generator, the Patriot Power Generator 2000X. It uses the endless free power of the sun to power lights, your TV, medical equipment, even run your fridge. Plus, it's expandable and comes with a free solar panel. Or pick up one of 4Patriots' best-selling survival food kits. Delicious tasting and designed to last for 25 years. They even have kits with real meat, and if the power's out, no worries. Just boil water over a fire, simmer, and serve. You'll enjoy a hot meal and stay safe in a crisis. More smart people than ever are finding 4Patriots. Over 2 million customers trust them, and you might have even seen them on TV. I had the folks at 4Patriots set up a special page for you at 4patriots.com/drive-on so that listeners of this podcast can see this week's discounts and deals before they go away. Go to 4patriots.com/drive-on, but hurry, these deals won't last long. Save more and get peace of mind now by going to 4patriots.com/drive-on. And that's, I think, a important part too, because when you have folks scattered throughout the country, different military installations, you have, reserves, National Guard throughout the country. You have people who are stationed overseas, and being overseas, mental health is looked at in certain countries a lot differently than we look at here, at it here, I should say. And they may not have those resources at all available to them when they're overseas in some cases. And so having this virtual connection where you can reach out and get a call back and within 24 hours, I think that's pretty amazing. I know I have a story of somebody who had tried to make a mental health appointment with the VA over the summer. I forget exactly when it was, maybe June, July, somewhere around there. And they said the next appointment that they had available with this particular provider was in October. And it's like, come on, that doesn't even make sense at that point. Like why so long? And I know there's a community care option. They have those options to be able to get access to care a little bit sooner through some other provider. But sometimes you want the care to be handled through people who are connected to the military. Everyone in the VA, whether they served or not, they have worked with people who have. And so maybe that's what you would prefer, but now you have to wait almost half a year in order to get it. And that just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So getting that call back, at least a call back, maybe it's not the 100% diving into the support that they need, but you get that call back within 24 hours, and then you can work on, scheduling appointments and that type of thing. From there, I think that's great. And I'm sure the turnaround time is a heck of a lot quicker than maybe what the VA might have to offer, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
By a long shot. Yeah, absolutely.
And we know that there's a lot of issues regarding going in. Now, there's nothing wrong with going into your community to get mental health care because care is care. But when you leave that VA or that base, and then you go to somebody who maybe doesn't quite know the military or isn't familiar, you're lacking that cultural competency. And you wouldn't think that it would have a huge effect on your care. But Sarah and myself and our chief of staff were talking the other day, and there was somebody who went to see somebody out in the community. And I think Sarah, they spent 40 minutes out of a 55-minute call or appointment just explaining the terminology and what was going on. And that cultural competency is something we really pride ourselves in, because we are all affiliated in one way or another with military, and we understand. And Sarah knows I don't speak Navy. So we have these things all the time. I'm very Army. We just don't speak Navy. I'm constantly having to have her, okay, what does it mean if you're on that kind of ship? What's the difference? But let's speak to a spouse who is Army, and I will, chances are, understand exactly what it is. I'll understand where they are, or, maybe a specific school their spouse is at, and, we can work through it together.
Yeah. It's funny because being Army myself, I remember that the first time I saw, there was a television show. I forget what the show was, but I remember somebody in the Navy was on the show, and they were a lieutenant in the Navy, and they referred to the person as a lieutenant. And I looked at the rank on their collar, and I was like, "That's not a lieutenant. Like, what are they like? Did they really get it that wrong?" And I was like, "No, I'm an idiot. I screwed that up."
I struggle with that so much.
You know,
So it makes
um,
sense. I think the only answer is that they're doing it wrong, because clearly the Army is doing the right way.
Oh,
well,
right.
obviously
Right.
that's my viewpoint. So anyways, yes, we will have the links to all of your website and social media accounts in the
Awesome.
show notes for all the listeners. Um, Folks, if you guys are looking for support and you're getting these months-long waits from the VA or wherever else it is that you might be going to, or you have concerns about going to uh, any place that might report back to your chain of command, and you just don't want that for one reason or another, I don't really care what the reason is. Your reason to have, not mine. Um, and you're looking for some sort of support. Maybe it's with your family, maybe it's for yourself. Uh, Whatever the case may be, reach out to Ohana Homefront Foundation. Get the support that you need. That's what they exist for. That's what they wake up every morning. They do this day in and day out for the last few years. And I just really believe in the mission that you guys have, and I really want people to reach out and get the support so that this crisis that we're having with mental health is um, it doesn't continue going in the wrong direction. I saw um, some statistics just the other day that veteran suicides, I think the last year that they had numbers for, I don't know why it takes so long to compile these numbers, but it was 2021, and it started ticking back up again. And that was very troubling for me. Like, we should be doing better. And you guys are the ones who are doing the work um, to make this better for everybody. And I really do appreciate what you guys are doing. Um, Now, at this point in the show, I like to add a little bit of humor. I know sometimes the conversations that we have are maybe a little dark, a little heavy, and sometimes telling a joke or watching funny video or something like that helps lighten the mood a little bit and kind of puts a little smile on people's face. So I'll tell a quick joke here for you. So this is how the different branches deal with a scorpion that they found in their tent. In the Marines, they kill the scorpion. In the Army, they call their CO, report the presence of the scorpion, and then they kill it. And in the Air Force, they call the front desk and ask why there's a tent in their room.
And
So, anyways, hopefully that, for the listeners, hopefully that put a little smile on your face too. Unless you're in the Air Force, and then you're probably not getting the joke, but just ask a Marine, they'll explain it to you. Or a soldier. Anyways, thank you both for taking the time to join us. I know you guys have a lot on your plates, a lot of things that you guys have going on, and I appreciate you taking time out of your day to join us and share the message of what it is that you guys are doing. It's really important stuff, and I'm really glad that you came here. So thank you again.
thank you for
Thank you. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to the Drive On podcast. If you want to support the show, please check out Scott's book, Surviving Son, on Amazon. All of the sales from that book go directly back into this podcast and work to help veterans in need. You can also follow the Drive On podcast on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, and wherever you listen to podcasts.